Big vibes, stay blessed, say less. This is BLKFinesse. We are here to watch Stupid Thieves Caught on Camera. As you can see, it's by your boy beamazed. It's coming about 4 days ago. I need to get a little caught up on reactions because, I was a little inactive last week. Let's go ahead and get started, you feel me?
In the movies, criminals are often portrayed as suave, sophisticated figures who rob banks and museums in tailored suits with high-tech gadgets. Unfortunately, the reality is a little bit less glamorous, and most thieves are considerably less intelligent than the characters we see on the silver screen. Today we're going to find that out firsthand, checking out a police lineup of clumsy criminals, bumbling burglars, and moronic shoplifters, as we take a look at some seriously stupid thieves who were caught on camera. If you've ever watched a heist movie, you'll know that a successful robbery requires a few things. A ragtag crew of misfits, a montage sequence, and most importantly, the perfect escape vehicle. Unfortunately, this first stupid thief missed that memo.
I think I've seen that too. You don't use a pickup truck to steal stuff,
After robbing a store and running into the parking lot, this dim-witted criminal took his eyes and hands off the prize by chucking his ill-gotten gains into the back of his open-top truck. Everybody loves a good chase sequence, but this one was a little anticlimactic, as an employee casually jogged up to the truck, grabbed the stolen goods, and waltzed away, forcing the thief to drive off empty-handed. The criminal's terrible choice of getaway vehicle is pretty embarrassing, but incredibly, he isn't the only thief who was foiled by a pickup truck.
Like, it would have been different if you just hopped on the back of it. That was pre-planned.
Believe it or not, this isn't a deleted scene from Home Alone, and the crafty homeowner behind
that was planned,
is Katie Camarena from Porterville, California, not Kevin McAllister. In the weeks prior to this video, Katie's neighborhood had been targeted by a gang of criminals who'd started sneaking up on people's driveways in the dead of the night and stealing tools out of their vehicles. Katie's motion-activated porch light didn't deter the criminals, and the police were of little help. So the Camarenas decided to take the law into their own hands. Unfortunately, these suburban vigilantes didn't actually don masks and weapons to clean up the mean streets of Porterville. Instead, they grabbed a motion-activated lawn sprinkler and rigged it up to their truck. The trap worked perfectly, and when this criminal pulled into the Camarena's driveway that evening, all the thief cycled away with was a face full of water. Well, I assume he was a thief. Hopefully that wasn't the local paperboy. Well, between that getaway fail and the cat burglar who was scared off by a spritz of water, which criminal did you think was dumber? For super stupid
getaway
truck boy, hit the like
dumber.
button. And for cat cretin, hit subscribe. All done? Amazing. What clips of idiocy have we got next? So that criminal didn't steal a single tool, but the Camarena's DIY booby trap definitely made him look like one. He shouldn't feel too bad, though. Some criminals don't need outside help to make themselves look stupid whilst committing their crimes. Walmart's official slogan is "Save money, live better." And this criminal decided to heed their advice, saving himself a ton of cash by stealing from the store. As the dim-witted thief took his items with a 5-finger discount, he wasn't too concerned with subtlety, shoving a giant box under his hoodie and hoping for the best as he stood in line. There isn't much information about this criminal online, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say he probably got caught.
I feel like he got away with it.
Pathetic attempt at crime. Not every criminal is so inept.
No. I mean, people at Walmart don't get paid enough for that.
This thief is like a magician, able to lift up her dress and make an entire television disappear in the blink of an eye.
Wow, that's not dumb. That's actually smart.
Costa Rica, back in 2015.
But the difference is it's in front of a camera.
The woman looks pretty stupid squatting over the television box, the way that she holds it between her legs, covers it with her dress, and walks out of the store that naturally is undeniably impressive.
That's very impressive,
People
yo.
use the term
that's
thick as thieves, but I didn't realize they were talking about their thighs.
It's just different
to the
in
local
front of the camera.
authorities, this woman was never identified or caught by the police, so you might be
They don't
wondering
care.
why
The cops don't care, bro.
Well, 1, the camera was right there. 2, stop defending criminals. And 3, look at what would have happened if she'd been caught.
Vamos lá, vamos ver o que estava escondido aí. Vamos lá, vai tirando, tira tudo. Vai lá. Que bonito, hein?
Joga no chão aqui.
Isso, põe no chão.
Produto para não ter que pagar. Aí vai
vai lá. Vamos lá, vai tirando aí.
They fit.
Vira pra cá, vira aqui, ó. Ei.
They
These
was
two
able to
women
fit
from
all that
Brazil
in
tried
there.
to emulate our favorite Costa Rican criminal, but unfortunately, they didn't have the thigh strength to pull off the job.
Yo, they'd have to do
The
that
thieves
like
reportedly grabbed a number of
in a
toiletries from the
spot where
store
the
before
camera isn't
stuffing them in
visible,
their
or
underwear and attempting to walk
a
out
lot of people
without
aren't
paying.
watching.
Fortunately, they were caught with their pants down as the eagle-eyed shopkeeper spotted
That's a lot
what
of
they were
stuff,
doing
though.
and
To be able to
forced them
fit all that is
lift up
crazy.
their dresses, revealing their stolen booty. I'm glad the shopkeeper caught the thieves, but I really hope they didn't put those products back on the shelves without giving them a deep, deep clean first.
Not for real.
It
Put 'em
turns
in
out
the
this
gooch.
method of shoplifting is pretty common, although some criminals are more creative than others.
Uh-oh.
They say that beauty is pain, but when this criminal chose to
She's
steal
trying
a
to get on
top
the
from
phone.
this clothing store, I don't think she anticipated quite how painfully embarrassing it would be when she got caught. This shoplifter is a little bit craftier than those Brazilians, boasting a pair of customized shorts with
I
a
still
built-in
wanna know how
pouch
you
that
got
allowed her to
caught,
hide
though.
her stolen goods like a criminal kangaroo. Unfortunately, she got all dressed up for nothing, and after being caught by a shopping attendant, she was forced to stand and wait as they lifted up her dress and exposed her crimes to the rest of the store.
Bro, y'all know how to be
That criminal
discreet,
was
bro. Y'all
exposed was
have
pretty embarrassing.
like it's extremely impressive how they're able to put this stuff in their clothes but still not get away with it, bro. Like you just have to stop doing it in front of people. Like you're not that discreet. If you're gonna be discreet where no one's looking or a spot where there's no camera. I don't condone stealing, but that's smart. What you're doing is smart. You're just not discreet with it. You're
But
being
at least she
stupid.
put some
You're doing it
thought
out in the
into her
open.
robbery. The same can't be said for this next thief. As this Australian teenager placed a crate full of alcohol on this store's counter and sidled up to the automatic doors, he thought he'd orchestrated the perfect crime. The thief planned to snatch the booze and run straight out of the store before anyone had time to react. But unfortunately, the shopkeeper was one step ahead of him. The shopkeeper had noticed the teen's shifty behavior, prompting him to casually reach to his left and use a wireless key fob to lock the store's doors right at the beginning of the video.
Right.
As a
That's
result, when
smart.
the kid tried to grab the drinks and run, he found himself trapped inside the store. He'd attempted to steal some pre-mixed Jack Daniels and Coke, but thanks to that shopkeeper's quick thinking, the kid ended up with Jack, forcing him to awkwardly search for cash in his pockets and have the world's most embarrassing conversation with the man he just tried to rob. Let's move from petty thieves and shoplifters to a criminal who tried to steal...
All right, out of the four, I think the dumbest ones. I feel like it got to be the black girl. Actually, no. The dumbest one is the dude trying to grab try to steal the beer box. I don't know, like it's between those two only because I don't think that's just dumb on their part. I think it's smart from the employee because he just watched it happen. Now the girl, how do you get caught doing that from something so smart? Like how you think you're that smart but just can't be discreet with it? Like how do they know you stole that? With shorts where you can stuff stuff inside you, clearly they watched you do it. Like you're not
something a
discreet.
bit more substantial.
Serious. That shit really serious. You know, this really. Oh, he really wildin'.
Clearly it's too heavy, bro. Y'all heard that? We could have made money
This
together.
thief from New Jersey was skilled enough to steal an entire ATM, but unfortunately he'd forgotten to hire a getaway driver. With no way of getting the ATM home, he decided to turn to public transport.
You did that by yourself. That's dumb.
And asking the driver for
That's
a
extremely
ride.
dumb.
I don't know how much bus drivers earn in New Jersey, but this one is clearly happy with his salary because he closed the doors and left the criminal stranded on the side of the road. This video is absolutely hilarious.
It's
but
very
it
hilarious.
Was
Like,
originally
you try to do it
uploaded
by
internet
yourself.
Comedian and influencer Darius DK. So unfortunately, there's a good chance that this is actually a staged prank.
Oh.
Even if the ATM robbery is fake, there are equally shocking examples of real criminals getting stuck in sticky situations.
ఇది జామ్ గుడి ఇతను కంచిలి పాపర్ అంటున్నారు రీస్ పాపర్ అంట జామ్ గుడి లోపలికి ఎరగొట్టుకుని.
This video from Andhra Pradesh, India shows the moment that a burglar was discovered calling for help after getting stuck in a hole in the side of a temple. The thief had reportedly broken into the temple through a small ventilation window before filling his pockets with holy ornaments made out of silver. And when the criminal tried to climb back out through the hole, he got stuck, left hanging out of the wall as his legs kicked around inside. Talk about karma. After struggling for a while, the thief was forced to shout for help, alerting some passers-by. Unsurprisingly, these locals weren't particularly understanding, and instead of helping the criminal escape, they filmed him and called the police. I'm not sure how long the thief was stuck in the wall for, but something tells me he'll be stuck behind bars for a little bit longer. The footage of the criminal is pretty damning, but still, it could be worse.
A lot of people
At least he
aren't going to
wasn't
help you. The real world
literally
don't
caught
care
with
about
his
you, bro.
pants down. This criminal from Tucson, Arizona,
Yikes.
found himself in one of the most incriminating positions in the world, as he was caught hanging upside down on the fence of an elementary school with his pants around his ankles. According to an eyewitness, the criminal climbed and slipped off the fence of Miles Elementary School in an attempted break-in. Apparently, as the criminal fell off the fence, his baggy pants got caught on its spikes, leaving him hanging by his ankles with his tighty-whities on show. The cops soon arrived on the scene,
Could
helping
you
the criminal
not
down from
take
the
your
fence
legs from
before
out of the
cuffing him
pants?
and
Like, that's
placing
dumb.
him in another tricky
You're
position.
not thinking.
The back of a police car. It still isn't clear why the man was attempting to break into an elementary school. Maybe he was there for, I don't know, coloring books? No, being that stupid, I doubt he even has
Well, I
the
said regardless,
capacity
you
to
can still
color
get out of
inside
that.
the
But,
lines.
I mean,
That
his
guy
legs
found
do
himself
look
in a
caught.
pretty embarrassing situation. but
No, they
he
don't
isn't
look
the
that
only
caught. They don't
criminal
look
who was
that
caught
caught.
hanging upside down. This thief in England was found hanging by his shoelaces after attempting to break through a window and burgle a house in Dartford, Kent.
Take the shoe
According
off.
to the local
Yo.
police, as the burglar tried to climb through the broken window, he managed
Y'all
to
just
slip
lack
over
common
while
sense.
simultaneously getting his shoe and shoelaces trapped in the window frame. The criminal was left hanging upside down for over an hour as a crowd of 30 passers-by gathered to watch the commotion and mock him. When the homeowner got back from work, the burglar reportedly begged to be let down, but unsurprisingly, the homeowner called the cops instead. This next criminal encountered a similar problem whilst breaking and entering.
I mean, obviously, you shouldn't be doing that in the first place because it's a tight space because your book bag is much bigger.
This footage shows the moment that a criminal from Melbourne, Australia attempted to break into a bookstore. As the burglar's backpack gets caught in the store's door, he struggles with it for a considerable amount of time, pulling with all of his strength, before realizing he can just take it off. Despite robbing a bookstore, this thief clearly lacks the brain cells to be able to read. However, against all odds, the criminal was somehow successful, and he was later recorded exiting the store with their safe lugging the heavy container down the road.
He managed to
He
get
got away
out.
with the goods, though I'd argue the video of his slapstick break-in is worth 10 times whatever was in the safe.
Kill.
All those felons fell at the first hurdle. However, even when thieves make it inside the place they're robbing, there's still plenty that can go wrong.
People really be thinking that expensive houses don't have cameras. Like, you crawling across the floor isn't going to keep you from being seen.
Now, I know what you're thinking. The new Mission Impossible looks really low budget. Well, in reality, this security footage comes from Australia, not Hollywood. And it shows the moment that a suburban home was burgled by a criminal known as the Brighton Crawler. That nickname sounds pretty terrifying, but when you watch this bumbling criminal drag his belly across the ground, it's kind of hard to be intimidated. When the crawler first broke into the home, he actually managed to notice the security cameras, prompting him to stop, drop, and crawl out of sight. This display of intelligence was pretty short-lived, and as he tried to crawl across the floor to avoid being seen, he accidentally shoveled his way into view. If that wasn't stupid enough, the crawler then turned and stared straight at the camera, giving the cops a clear look at his face. According to the police, the crawler attempted to steal 2 safes from the home, but when a neighbor came to investigate the disturbance, he ran away and climbed over the garden fence, escaping empty-handed. Unfortunately, the police haven't been able to identify or track down the criminal, so as of now, the Brighton Crawler
It's not that easy when you got on shades or a mask
the streets of Australia in search of a new house to unsuccessfully rob.
But a lot of expensive houses have
security
cameras.
cameras got a pretty good look at the crawler's face, so he's incredibly lucky that the police weren't able to identify him. Committing a crime like that without wearing a mask seems pretty dumb, but then again, a disguise doesn't always make a criminal harder to track down. When this criminal from Belleville, Illinois decided to hold up a gas station, he had the bright idea of wearing a mask. Unfortunately, his choice in disguise left a lot to be desired, as he walked into the store and robbed the cashier with a see-through plastic bag over his head. The criminal only stole $60 from the gas station, but to be fair, that was probably all he could carry. It's not like he could use the bag he brought. Unsurprisingly, when this CCTV footage was shared with the police, it didn't take them long to identify the criminal and arrest him, and he was later sentenced to 15 years in prison for the robbery and a string of previous offenses.
15?
The plastic bag bandit is pretty dumb, but he has some competition.
I never would expect that.
Stealing alcohol from a convenience store in Louisa, Virginia, while donning 2 carved-out watermelons fitted with eye holes. It isn't clear why the melon-headed criminals decided to don these makeshift melon masks, but it didn't take long for the Louisa Police Department to identify one of them as 20-year-old Justin Rogers. Justin was charged with larceny, and while the police didn't explain how they tracked him down, if I had to guess, I'd say they probably used their own melons. Let's move from shoplifting to white-collar crime as we check out the story of an independent contractor who had to pay $563 in damages and serve 2 years of probation after attempting to defraud the company he was working for.
Wow.
This is Alexander Goldinsky, an independent contractor who decided to have a change in career, trying his hand at acting and insurance fraud at the same time. In this video, Alexander clearly pours a cup of ice on the floor before stepping on a cube and pretending to slip over. After the video ends, the fraudster reportedly rolled around on the floor for a while until one of his colleagues found him and called an ambulance. After being taken to hospital, Alexander filed a large insurance claim against the company, asking them to pay for his ambulance ride and the supposedly expensive treatment he received for his non-existent injuries. The company were happy to pay, but first they had to conduct an investigation into the incident. An investigation that uncovered this damning surveillance footage. The embarrassing video incriminated Alexander immediately, and instead of receiving a big insurance payout, he was forced to pay $563 in restitution to the insurance firm, serve 2 years of probation, and undergo 14 hours of community service. All in all, Alexander's career as a fraudster didn't work out, and he's unlikely to get hired as an independent contractor.
What though? Like, why?
However, if I was able to try and find myself an agent and book some auditions, with acting jobs like this, he was
lacking that much money
on the silver screen, not the floor. Watching Alexander shamelessly steal from work is pretty disheartening. However, not all criminals are so dishonest. Some of them genuinely love good old-fashioned hard work. This
He's doing
criminal
this
is
at
either
night,
the
though.
stupidest or the most thoughtful thief in the world. Because after stealing a lawnmower from a house in Port Arthur, Texas, he decided to do some yard work, heading out into the garden and mowing the homeowner's lawn. When the police arrived, the crook reportedly ran away from the cops, dragging the lawnmower behind him. Unfortunately, the weight of the lawnmower was too cumbersome, prompting him to ditch it in an alleyway before making his escape. The police used the security camera to identify the thief as a local criminal called Marcus Hubbard. However, they weren't able to track Marcus down, and they're reportedly still looking for his whereabouts.
Wow.
If you ask me, even if the cops do
The fact that
find
they still look
Marcus,
for him is
the real
insane.
winner in all of this is the homeowner. After all, they got their lawnmower back and their lawn mowed for free. Sounds like a win-win to me.
Just let the man go, bro. At this
Marcus
point, he done
managed
did
to
his
get away
long.
from the cops, but not all
He's not
criminals
gonna
are
come back.
lucky enough to evade arrest. Back in 2017, John Bell from Houston, Texas, tried to rob a cell phone store, storming in with a gun and demanding that the shopkeeper empty the cash register. Unfortunately, he was immediately outsmarted by both the shopkeeper and her customers as they quickly rushed out of the store and locked the door behind them. At this moment, John became the hostage as he was stuck inside the store.
I think I remember
with no
seeing
way
this
of
one.
getting
He was
out.
freaking out, too.
Most thieves want to break into places, but over the next 8 minutes, John did everything he could to get out of the building. Desperately
They
kicking
locked him
and ramming
in.
the
Now, how do you
door in
lock him
futile
in?
attempts to break through the glass and steal bars. Unfortunately, he was as skinny as he was stupid, and after a few minutes of prying and begging passersby to let him out, the police arrived, arresting the criminal before later sentencing him to 5 years in jail. Although
Whoa,
technically
5
he'd
years?
already served 8 minutes. Now this
Yikes.
next
I
thief's
guess 'cause of the
breaking and entering
gun.
skills are more efficient than stupid. However, the target of his burglary makes him look pretty dumb after he put in all that effort to steal a Mickey Mouse toy from a piano store. I've heard of a cat burglar, but this thief's interest in plush mice is pretty confusing. Nobody's sure why the criminal
okay.
stole such a worthless item, but hey, thieves are people too. Maybe he just gets lonely at night. The thief was never identified, but luckily a local charity bought the store a new Mickey Mouse toy for the window and threw in a plush Minnie Mouse as an added bonus. That's a nice gesture, or should I say, a mice gesture.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see myself out for that one.
Alright.
I'm not sure why a thief would steal a plush toy, but this next criminal has a much clearer motive for his crime. Hunger.
I think I remember seeing it. He tried to carry that whole thing and it just fell. Burned himself like a dummy.
This criminal gave a new definition to the term caught red-handed after attempting to steal a rack of lamb meat from a kebab restaurant.
Land meat. Okay.
Unfortunately for the thief, these rotating
Lamb meat.
skewers are superheated to cook the lamb meat and keep it warm throughout the night, a fact that he only learned after grabbing the metal. The thief's eyes were bigger than his stomach and his pain tolerance, as the heat forced him to flee the shop with nothing but burnt hands and a bruised ego.
My
Don't get me
guy's an
wrong,
idiot.
Stealing food from a restaurant is pretty immoral behavior, but do you know what's even worse? Being a quitter. That bandit's lack of commitment to his crime is disappointing to see, but to be fair, he isn't the only criminal who gave up at the first hurdle. When this porch pirate from Tacoma, Washington decided to steal this package, he saw it as a way to make himself some easy cash.
Look like a
Little did
girl.
he know this house was far from an easy target, and he'd accidentally stumbled upon the home of Jeremy Barrow, the creator of an anti-porch pirate booby trap
I
called
think I remember
the
him
Blank
too.
Box.
That's tough.
The Blank Box's story starts back in 2017 when Jeremy's packages were getting repeatedly stolen by porch pirates. Jeremy decided to get some revenge on the thieves, so he constructed a fake package out of blank shotgun shells and fishing wire that lets out a flash and a bang when lifted. As you can see, Jeremy's so-called blank box was pretty effective at deterring porch pirates, and before long every criminal who tried to rob Jeremy was sent running away, sprawling across his front yard in fear. The gadget worked so well that he started selling them, setting
that
up an
means
online
the
store to
crime
help
rate
other
and where he
people
lives
with
is
a
pretty
porch
high.
pirate problem. Instead of spending a ton of money on advertising, all Jeremy had to do to sell the product was buy a porch camera, set up a YouTube channel, and expose every thief who tried to steal his packages, showing how effective the blank box is at keeping his deliveries safe. Exposing all those porch pirates online must be pretty satisfying for Jeremy. However, I'm not sure he should bother going to all the effort because sometimes the stupidest criminals expose themselves.
Very true.
Back in 2012, Hannah Sabata from Waco, Texas decided to go on a crime spree, robbing $6,000 from a bank at gunpoint and stealing a Pontiac Grand Am. By all accounts, the 19-year-old had gotten away with her crimes after successfully evading the cops and making it back home. Unfortunately, instead of lying low and enjoying her newfound wealth, Hannah decided to pull out her camera and make a YouTube video.
This gotta be the dumbest right here. The dumbest.
In this grainy, glitchy video, Hannah boasts about her crimes in great detail while showing her ill-gotten gains off to the camera. As you can imagine, it didn't take long for the police to see the video, and they arrested Hannah the same day that it was uploaded. With
You're
this
a
online
dummy.
confession, the
You're a
case was open
dummy.
and shut, and Hannah was later sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison for her crime spree.
Good.
So her life as a teenager
Good.
and her career as a YouTuber came to an abrupt end.
Yeah,
Uploading your
you
own
sold.
confession onto YouTube is
Bro,
pretty stupid,
like you're dumb.
but it could be worse. Back in 2017, a burglar called Jesse Berube one-upped Hannah
Damn.
and established himself as one of the dumbest criminals of all time, after calling 911 on himself. In December 2017, Jesse decided to channel his inner Santa Claus as he attempted to burglarize a business in Citrus Heights, California by climbing down their chimney. Now, Santa's had a lot of practice climbing down chimneys over the years, but unfortunately, this was Jesse's first time. As he reached the bottom of the chimney, he got stuck. Jesse tried to wiggle his way out of the tight, dark space, but eventually, he accepted his fate, reaching into his pockets and dialing 911 for help. Presumably, the local police spent a good few minutes laughing at Jesse over the phone before heading to the scene and discovering him trapped in the chimney, completely covered in soot. After another bout of laughing, the cops rescued him from the hole, pulling him to safety and charging him with 1 count of burglary.
Yo, that
Jesse
goes
might be
mad
one of the
tight.
only
Why would you
criminals
try to
have
do
called the
that?
cops on himself. Then he better watch his back in prison. Nobody there likes snitches, not even the ones who snitch on themselves.
Yikes.
Well, with that, our police lineup is complete.
A very interesting little video. A lot of these jokers is very stupid. I think, like I said, the most stupidest one, it now moved to the girl doing YouTube, because you got away with robbing $9 grand from a bank, but then and then you don't get caught. But instead of actually enjoying your wealth, you proceeded to make a YouTube video boasting about robbing a bank and stealing a car. That's the stupidest thing you could do. So now you just ruined your life because you wanted to be a YouTuber, but you could have been a YouTuber and not say nothing, but you decided to do that. Comment down below what you think the stupidest one was, your favorite one. It's your boy BLKFinesse. We out, man.